What's up, guys? Happy Friday. So this episode is a different one. I have my first little guest, one of my friends, Jess.
Hi.
And today this podcast is completely different and off of my normal subjects that I talk about. So today Jess and I are drinking some wine and we are going to talk about some sex. Ooh. And also, if you don't have time to listen to this, it will be up on the blog as well, so you guys can read it too. They're not exactly the same, but they are pretty similar. But yeah, so I had looked up I kind of dropped the ball. I looked up some stuff about sex. I didn't really know how to start it off, so we are just kind of going back and forth and asking questions and whatnot. Whatever gets brought up,
I'm sure we'll get into some kind of conversation.
Yeah, and it's going to be very inappropriate, so if you're going to be around people that should not hear this, I would recommend you listen to it by yourself.
Under the age of 8? No,
under the age, high school.
15.
Yeah, 15, that's
Who
fine.
knows?
So my sister listens to this podcast, so skip over this episode and just not. Okay?
That's a personal shout out.
Yes. Sarah, if you're listening right now, it's time to turn this off and go study. Okay. So, I don't know why. So I've been really into Sex and the City lately, and I kind of think that this episode was kind of inspired by Sex and the City. I don't know. I've
actually really never watched a full episode of Sex and the City.
It's so good. Do you have Prime? Do you have Amazon?
Yeah.
Watch it on there. It is.
I don't know. I'm
the episodes are so short. They're only 20 minutes long, and they're literally so good.
I'm the worst girl ever. I don't watch Sex and the City. I don't watch Friends. I've never really got into it, but maybe I should try.
Well, I've never watched Friends.
2020 all new stuff.
All new stuff, 2020. No, Sex and the City is definitely, but I just had started watching it when Nick moved in and we were on HBO. We had the free trial, and I was like, well, let me watch it because I've never watched it before. And ever since then, this is probably my second time going back and watching it because it's so good. Yeah, but she's
a
6, I'm pretty sure.
Gosh, I'm so
but the episodes are so short, so it's you kind of fly through them if you just put it on. But
it's lighthearted, right?
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's really inappropriate. Don't ever watch it around Finn.
Really embraces. Finn's my 5-year-old, by the way.
Yeah, so
not a dog, not a husband, just my 5-year-old.
Yeah, Finn's not allowed to watch it.
Definitely not watch it.
No, God, no.
No, I mean, I know the basis of it. I grew up around
a lot of nudity and all that stuff. But, yeah, so she, the main character, if you've never seen it, Carrie Bradshaw, she, does a sex column. So, I don't know. I was let's talk about some sex and, spice it up a little bit. So with that, I'm just going to go off of a couple things that I read online, and we're just going to play around with it.
Wait, I'm just looking at your first question. You better skip to your fifth first and introduce a little. Her first question is so serious.
The questions that I looked up, they're really intense. They're very intense. Also, I don't think Nick should ever listen to this episode. So, Nick, also, if you're listening,
my husband as well, probably.
Yeah, so let's just skip over.
Well, listen, we're gonna.
It's gonna be fun.
We'll add in some of our personal opinions, but it's gonna be a whole general.
Yeah, it's just general. It's not based on our.
Also, blowing away the stigma that girls shouldn't talk about sex and what they like and what
because I feel nowadays you're not allowed to, and if you do you're a
labeled,
whore
exactly.
or whatever. I remember this is so embarrassing, but I remember back in the day whenever I first made my first ever Twitter account, and I was probably a sophomore in high school, and I remember tweeting something, and it pissed me off because now I saw someone tweet about it, and then I was well, I tweeted that years ago, and I got everyone was coming at my neck, and I was well, damn.
Yeah, it's hard I think it's really uncomfortable for some men, and also maybe some females, for girls to be really comfortable with their sexuality and everything.
I said something along the lines of
2020, come on, get with the times, people.
And it's I don't know, because I had said something along the lines of sucking dick, and then it was whole thing, and like everyone was like so pissed, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll delete this tweet. And then literally like a week ago, I was on Twitter, and it was like, favorite this if like if you could like deep throat or something like that, and I was like, whoa, okay, so mine wasn't even as bad as that.
Probably back when you were a sophomore, they were not.
It was like
not embraced at all. Yeah,
fucking write the A on me, like damn.
Exactly.
Like what?
You're gonna get labeled real quick.
It's fine. I think that's double standards, but
there you go.
Whatever. All right, so some of these questions, wow.
Start with, let's ease
which
into
one do you
because...
so let's see, because these questions are a little bit much. We don't have to do that one. We don't have to do that one.
Oh jeez, that's a serious one. I mean, that could be,
oh gosh. Okay, let's start off with number 3. Okay, so
sex on your period.
So I personally, it makes me feel weird to have sex on your period. I don't know. I have in the past, but is it something that I like am aiming for? I know people that love doing it. Like they just do it like all the time, and I'm like, do you like not even judging, but like that is something that I'm not comfortable with. I think it is gross, and it just gets everywhere sometimes.
I think I've actually heard this girl who I went to high school with used to say that it felt better. She was more sensitive, which may be so. I mean, maybe so. That might be a thing. I've never experienced it.
When I did it, that's not what I got from that.
I don't. I just try to avoid it because it's like we have a child. We're trying to get to the point. We're not trying to clean up an entire situation.
It's messy.
Yeah,
and then people are like, "Yeah, lay a towel down," and I'm like, "But like, do you have sex like on the floor and lay a towel down, or do you lay a towel in your bed?" Because like,
no, you lay it in the bed.
But why would you want any of that on the sheets, though? I'd rather it be on the carpet than
it gets messy. It gets, it gets messy, and I like to avoid it in my adult years. I don't like to do the extra cleanup. I clean up enough.
Okay, but so, the one thing that I am okay with is, like, period sex, but, like, in the shower.
Yeah, I mean because that's avoiding the whole
it's like
thing
like you like kill.
And if your man is okay with it, like some guys aren't cool with that.
Yeah,
some guys want to avoid that 100%. Others don't care as long as they're getting off. They don't care.
That I think that's the only time. But also, I really don't care for shower sex. I feel like that is a lot of effort. I feel like it is a lot of effort, and I've only done it a couple of times, and I'm just like, no. But I just had a conversation with one of my good friends, and they were like, yeah, oh my god, we love shower sex, and I'm like, he was
Are
like,
they midgets? I can't. No, like, sorry, my husband's 6'4". We cannot fit in a shower or a bath or situation. Like, I need a damn jacuzzi.
No, like they're really tall. Like both of them are tall, and I'm just like.
I mean, power to them. They probably have some systems installed in there, like to put their feet up on steps. Yeah, but it's like you have to like grips. Do like placement grips. You have to like install like they're wearing special hospital socks so they can not fall.
So they don't slip around. I just don't think. Yeah, but they were like, well, it's like less messy. Like you don't have to worry about cleaning up the mess. And I'm like, I guess, but that's just like
also other ways to avoid that without almost going to die.
Yeah, so shower sex is like, and then it's like if my hair is straight, like I don't want my hair to get wet in the shower.
Well, just wear a shower cap. That's super sexy.
I don't have one.
Well, I use a plastic bag, so.
I've never. If my hair gets wet in the shower, I'm literally just washing it off.
Seems very complicated. Just avoid the shower sex. Yeah, for me, my husband's way too big. I never have enjoyed it.
Well, that's like Nick and I saying it's like our height difference doesn't work out. So I'm just like, yeah, well, let's just.
I don't have enough handlebars in my
and it's not even like because it's not. I feel like it might be different if you actually like just have like a regular shower, like it's not a bathtub and it's just a shower, like a regular huge shower that you both can fit in. I don't. But also like you know, like in movies,
where are you doing what?
But like in movies, like their guys are picking up their girls and like doing it like that. But I feel like what if he slips and then you both.
Again, I'm not trying to lose my life.
Yeah.
With shower sex.
Or break any type of bones while doing that.
I'm sure it happens, but not for me.
Not today. God, not ever. Let's do some Oh, God, this list is kind of intense.
Raunchy.
Okay. Have you ever, ever faked an orgasm?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
hands down, yeah. I mean, what? I'm not ashamed. Sometimes you just want it over with, and you're just going to get to the point. You want, come on, let's hurry this up.
So, but, like, have you ever been asked, like, if you faked it, like, by the person, like, that you've slept with? Like, was it noticeable that you were, like...
No, I think I'm pretty...
You mastered it?
That, yeah.
Seasoned?
I've never been... I don't think I've been, like, asked. I've never been called out, like, was that real or was that fake? Like, but...
Because on the one episode...
Sometimes I just feel like you just gotta get...
to the point. Because the one episode on Sex and the City, the one girl, she was having sex, and I don't know, like, how it happened, but, like, the conversation got brought up, and she, like, confessed to him that she was, like, faking, like, the orgasms that, like, every single time, and he was like, well, I've slept with, like, multiple women, so, like, what are you trying to say, that they've all, like, faked an orgasm? And she was like, well, yeah, probably. And then so she, like, tried to teach him, like, how to, she's like, do you know where my clit is?
This makes me think of a book I read. You know that, what's her name? Rachel something, Girl Wash Your Face?
Oh, yeah, I did see that book,
okay, so I listened to the podcast and I read the book. Mm-hmm. And she had a whole chapter about how her one thing that, like, helped her in her marriage was every time her and her husband had sex, mm-hmm. he essentially had to make her orgasm before he got off. Okay. And more power to her that she has the time and effort and whatever to do that. I'm like, I get it off enough time. I'm okay with not getting pleased every single, like, not pleased, I am pleased, but I'm totally okay with not getting off every single time I have sex.
See, maybe it's because, I don't know, see, my problem is like, if I don't, like, I have a fucking attitude, like, yeah, I'm not even kidding, like, if I don't,
it does not bother
the mood
me.
Is fucking ruined, and also, like, TMI, like, if I don't, then I'll have to do it myself, because then I'll walk around with a fucking attitude.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have in the past.
Yeah.
Like, years ago, if I, like, couldn't get off, if I was, like, built up, and I would take care of myself afterwards, but I just, like, now, I'm, like, I have a release from, like, the physical interaction.
See, maybe I'll get there at some point, but, like... Because from one, I think it's selfish. Like, what, especially if I initiate it and it's like me that, like, is ready to go, and, like, you can't, like, if you aren't into it and you don't want to, at least just
see, like, it's never like no one's into it. It's just like, if he were to get off before me, I'm not like, oh my god, because it doesn't happen every time. If something like that did happen all the time, it would be.
So, like, whenever it's done, so then as soon as he's done, then it's done. Then you just guys go about your day.
My day, before I roll over and go to sleep.
See, I don't know. It stresses me out. Maybe I have some, like, growing to do, but, like, if I don't, like...
It's also... I mean, let's add the factor of a child and this thing. Like, we have very we try, but it's hard to make that time. It's a whole different beast when you have...
Yeah, a kid and...
You know, like, kind of some distractions in life. And, like, we're 30. Not that our sex drive's any different than we were, like, when we were 25, but... how I feel about sex as opposed to I did at 25 is completely different now that I'm, like, 30.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm 23, like, so I feel like
I would probably feel that type of way when I was, like, 25 trying to get it in. But,
right.
Like, I'm just, like, enjoying the moment, like, the time with my husband and the intimacy, not so much, like...
Yeah, okay.
For, like, an end goal,
okay. I get it. So, with that being said, so, like, how often do you think... people should be having sex? Like, how often do you think that sex
it's different in every relationship.
For everyone,
some people go into, I think guys, you know, like, nowadays it's not really talked about, but I don't think guys have that crazy sex drive that that they're painted out to be. Yeah. Especially when they're with the same I want to say that. I guess I retract, edit that out.
So when Nick and I first got together, like, it was months before we even, like, it was probably like 5 or 6 months before we actually had sex. Really? And it was like driving me crazy. But, like, granted, like, I had just, like, I had already been in a relationship, and then I think Nick was, like, hesitant to, like, start something because we didn't, like, really know what was, like, gonna come of it. Mm-hmm. So, but, like, every time Nick and I hung out, I was, like, I just thought, like, and I still do, but I just thought Nick was, like, the sexiest thing ever. So I was, like, trying to, like, hop on that. And so whenever he, like, wouldn't, like, he would, like, cause, like, we'd make out and stuff like that, but, like, he was, like, not into the sexing. And I'm, like, sitting here, like, he would, like, go home.
I just think, like, girls don't talk enough about, like, the fact that men don't have that, like, some of them do. Some of them have great sex drives. So, like, whatever. Not that they have bad sex drives, but they're just not down to, like, dick down 24/7. Like, we're not, like, in the day and age where guys are just, like, sex. Like, there's other things going on, like, and there's other, and I feel like factors in people's lives. Like, it's not, they paint these men to be, like, these dogs constantly. Well, then, and I mean, like, some of them are, to be honest, but that's not who I married, and that's not who you're dating.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to me because, like, it's so funny. Like, when I used to think when I was younger, I was like, oh my god, like, I can't wait to, like, get older and be in a relationship. Like, we're gonna have sex, like, all the time. Like, oh my god, can't wait. I'm gonna be so sad when we're old and can't have sex anymore. And then now I'm like, okay, like, this is, like, life happens. Like, sometimes you're busy. You don't have sex all the time. So now I'm like, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah. When you're comfortable, when you get, like, to a comfortable groove, I think then that's, like, you make it in the relationship when it's comfortable for both of you and you both can express yourself and talk about it. Like, to me, I feel really open to be able to talk about if I'm getting enough or not getting enough. But
I'm very vocal if I feel like if I exactly. And I'm like, all right, this week we gotta step it up.
Right. And I'm very vocal, and, like, it just doesn't, and it's not something that, like, is, like, I used to think it was a make or break in a relationship.
Me too.
But
and I think that was my younger mind.
When you love someone, right, and when you, like, when you love someone and, like, that, and those moments that you do get to have with them, like, I appreciate. I don't even. Like, I'm happy. Yeah, and then, like, I'm happy with it. It's not like I'm
like us just sitting
fiending
on the couch, right? Yeah. So I think, and now my mindset is more like, I don't want to have sex with you right now. I'd rather us just watch a movie or just, like,
like, intimacy comes in different forms. It's not just, like, sex, which, which
and
I
it's
think
what I thought about, like, all the time. I'm like, oh my god, like,
younger,
when we're old, I was like, Jesus, when we turn 60, like, are we gonna, like, just stop? And now I'm to the point where I'm like, all right, well, this is, like whatever.
I'd rather, like, cuddle up or, like, you know, not necessarily
like, just bang.
Trust me, I'm not in the mood.
Like, but I do have my, like, sometimes I have my weeks and I'm just like, yo, like, what is happening? Like, this wasn't last week. Let's
because I think our hormones are a lot different and fluctuate a lot differently than a man's.
And then sometimes Nick's, like, looking at me, and I'm like,
totally, like, flatlined, and we're, like, all over the place, and they're just trying to accommodate.
And Nick's just, like, staring at me, and I'm just like, do we have a problem? Like, let's fucking get going. Like, oh my god. Okay, yeah.
So it's true. I mean, we gotta embrace that, though.
But, like, I've seen, like, a couple people, like, always on social media, but they're like, well, if your partner watches porn, like, that's basically cheating. And I'm like,
oh my god,
I just feel like that's so just not.
I don't know.
No, because, like, sometimes I don't know
what kind of issues some people have, but, like, I
feel like it's almost like an insecurity. Like, whenever, like, if, like, Nick's watching porn, like, I don't know whenever he does, but, like, whenever I sometimes, like, think about it, I'm, like, not thinking, like, oh, he thinks that, like, she's prettier than me, that's why he's watching it. Like, I'm just
thinking it's they're, like,
whatever.
Porn is, like, a tool, and you use it as a tool.
Also,
but
I'm using it, too.
There are some people who
do it for that
but,
reason.
like, are addicted. Like, I guess I have never personally met someone or ever been involved with someone like that, but I remember, like, when I was young, really young, though, like 15, 16, and finding out, like, guys watched porn was, like, horrified. Like, thinking, and then, like, now I'm 30 and I'm like, I mean, what?
Well, yeah, because I always used to think, like, it was gross. But now, I don't know.
Live your life, no judgment, and unless it affects your, like, everyday relationship with your significant other, like, if it's getting in the way, or
if he's choosing porn over you,
exactly,
then there's, like, an issue.
Become an issue. But, like, if that's something that they use to just, like, help them get off, so
be it. So Nick and I literally just had this conversation like about porn the other day. I don't know why actually I do know why, but it's way too much information. But I like had asked him like, does he have a category, because I wanted to tell him that I had like a certain category that I watched, and he like told me his, and I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. And he was like,
that's fine.
Well, what's yours? Okay, yeah, I was like, yeah, whatever. And and it just brought back memories to whenever I used to work night shift at the hospital I used to work at, and the one girl told me that she was like super into like bondage, and I was like, there is no fucking way. Like, I don't.
She was really into porn bondage?
Yes, but and like
real life.
And I was just like, oh.
So you were like, if Nick told you he was into serious bondage and you weren't actually doing that in real life, you would feel a type of way.
I would feel some type of way. I'd be like, yeah. So like, what the, like,
right.
What?
Yeah, I also think like porn used to be, like as a young kid, a young guy, like living out these fantasies,
like, yeah.
That's not the case in my life. I've never.
I can say though, like porn, like for me, I know everyone has their. And then I was watching like a show on Netflix, Working Moms. I don't know if you watched that yet, but like
a little bit, yeah.
Like her fetish was like anime porn, and I was just like,
oh yeah.
It's so different to hear about others, but I had told Nick, I was like, I don't watch like guy and girl porn. Like it does nothing for me. Like absolutely, it almost makes me nauseous seeing another guy like gag. Like I can't. And he was like, well, what do you watch? And I was like, I just watch girls, because I don't know, that's what it happens,
right?
And then when I was speaking to him about it, I was like, this is like kind of awkward. Like I was like, I don't know if he feels. He didn't say, like, he literally said nothing. But I told him that I came across this porn video. This is so R-rated. I came across this video.
Again, if you are a sister or under the age of 13, please stop listening.
Do not listen to this. Okay, so we had like a bit of an intermission there, and I like totally of what people say, because sometimes they are like insane, and so this
new thing I have to do now.
Yeah, it makes me laugh. So then it's like, okay, I have to watch it. But I came across this porn, and it was like this girl, like it was like a solo, and she was like in the bathroom, and like she peed, and like her pee was like so brown, and like all the comments were like, damn, she's dehydrated as fuck. And I was like, I'm not watching it. But like it was so funny, because like the clip, like when you play it, like you could obviously see it, so I didn't even have to like play it to see that it was. And all the comments were like, oh my god, can someone feed her some water?
Like, oh my god, I feel like people are taking their time to comment, to troll porn videos.
Literally all the time. I don't know what like porn site you watch, but like
porn's supposed to be ratchet.
Listen,
like it's not.
Well, because like I don't know what porn site everyone uses, but like I usually do Pornhub, and the comments on there are absolutely ridiculous. And sometimes there'll be like 276 comments.
I'm literally just gonna do that tonight.
Just look at the comments.
Look at the comments today. Like it has nothing to do with my like me wanting to do anything. Like I just am gonna be reading the comments, because that's wild as hell. I don't know anyone who does that.
And I don't know why I do, because like sometimes like if you like scroll down and it says related, and then it says comments, and then I think the one day I just clicked over to the comments. Yeah, and I was just like, wow, these comments are insane.
I actually, this is my new hobby.
Is reading porn comments. This girl that I used to work with, she told me that she reads porn, and I thought that was like kind of odd, because I don't really know what that would do for
reads
me.
Porn. I remember back in the day, like me and my best friend sneaking Cosmopolitan and like reading the stories about people having sex and being like, oh my god, and like that was like the first time that I was like, oh my god, I think I'm horny.
By reading?
Yeah, like sexual things. Like I didn't know. I was like very
How old were you?
Young. I mean like 9, 10.
Oh wow, okay.
And like and just like thinking like, oh, this makes me feel some type of way. Like I'm reading, this guy doesn't like that this guy's circumcised. And I had no idea what that stuff was. But like, you go down this like, they have little like clips of in Cosmo. When I was little, we used to steal her older sister's magazines and read them like really late at night. Sneak them.
It's so funny. I remember late at night, like whenever I was younger, like the HBO channel was ridiculous.
Yeah, they had some like
ridiculous, and it was always like
I remember like watching the L Word, like stumbling upon the L Word, and just like being so enthralled. Like my parents pretty much kind of hid all that stuff. And, like, sex wasn't a huge topic in our house. Like, the way my dad found out that I had sex for the first time was finding like a bag from Planned Parenthood stuffed in like my like in the side of my mattress. We were moving, so he was like moving things out, moving my furniture, and I shoved it in there, and it had like condoms and this and that. Because like when I was 15, when I started having sex, I thought like the littlest thing could get you pregnant. I was terrified. Like I literally was walking on eggshells.
Like,
I was
you
like,
dribbled on me. I'm pregnant.
Exactly. So I would like go to Planned Parenthood for everything. I'm like, I need this, I need that, and they would like they'd give you like a gift bag,
a gift bag,
send you on your way.
That is so funny.
I just remember like being so paranoid about it, but I had this like paper bag that I had shoved in there. My dad found it, and my mom was like, your dad found that bag, and like he's pissed. Like, and then I remember being in a car with him. It was just him and I, and he's had the conversation where we're driving down 65 at 45 miles an hour, and I remember trying to open the door, like trying to get out. Because he went straight to AIDS. He was like, you can get AIDS.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. No, I mean, there's like a ton of other things that like I'm thinking of that like I want to avoid. Stop. AIDS was not one of the top.
Yeah.
But thanks for scaring the shit out of me. Yeah. And I remember trying to get out of the car and during that conversation, like we like stopped, and I like got out of the car and walked across the boulevard. I was like not
this
having
is
this
awkward.
Conversation.
I don't think anyone in my family ever had the sex talk with me. Like, I don't know. It was just like obviously my dad being like just him, obviously he wasn't gonna have that conversation, but look what fucking happened. I wound up getting pregnant, so that's how everyone found out that I was having sex, because it just
that's what
happened.
I mean,
but like no one ever taught. And then what's crazy is like we had that class in school, and
Wonders of Wonder,
and baby, like that was like my only experience. Like even like then my dad was never like, okay, this is what can happen if you do this, and you're gonna have a baby. And I remember like that baby was a pain in my ass, and I remember the last day, like Sunday night was probably the worst night that I had with that baby. It just kept crying. I walked into school and I was like, I'm never having a baby. Literally like 4 months later I was like,
you can't, it's so hard to at that age to differentiate like the responsibility that comes with that stuff and like what you're doing as sexually. Like you have all these feelings, you have all these like hormones rushing through your body. It's super 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 hard to rein all that back and think clearly as a 14-year-old and to think like, no, like I could have a child out of this, like, or I could get AIDS. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, like that's not like the first
but there's
thing
so
I think
many
about.
like things you don't think. You are just like in the moment. You live in the moment when you're in a teenager, and
especially if the guy that you like really like you just don't think about that. You're like, oh my God, he's giving me attention.
Yeah,
like, what?
You're not thinking about that at all. Like,
Yeah.
and you live up to like a kind of an expectation that you think everyone else is living up to, but
yeah. I don't even think my family ever had like the conversation about periods with me either. Like it was just like that stuff. One day I was just like, oh, okay, like what is happening right now? Like no one ever had those conversations with me. And I was just kind of like,
I can't. Nothing sticks out in my head.
I was like, do I wear tampons or do I wear pads or like what do we do right now?
I was like one of the last ones out of my whole group of friends to get my period.
I was so young.
Yeah, so period. Like I had my best friend. I remember like telling me outside of the door, my bedroom door, I'm trying to shove a tampon in, and she's like, all right, just like make sure it goes in this angle, like just yelling from the other side of the door. Like I mean, not that I couldn't go to my mom, but like I'm a teenager, I'd rather talk to my friends about it, and like instead of going straight to my mom and being like. And I remember I told my best friend that I had sneezed and blood came out.
Stop.
She was like, I asked my mom, that doesn't happen. It's your period. I was like, I swear it was from a sneeze. And my
Speaking of tampons.
And I didn't even try to tell my mom. My mom just saw it in my under. Like, my mom had saw it when she was, like, doing wash, and she was like,
yeah, so.
I think you're like, because I specifically remember watching Cheetah Girls. Remember that movie on Disney?
Yes,
and sobbing. And a day later, I got my first period.
Wait, why were you crying over the Cheetah Girls?
I don't know.
Your
hormones. And that's why I said, like, I never cried in a movie. The only movie I've cried to this day is Cheetah Girls back when I was... 14, 13? Like, I got my period very late, like 13. I was tiny.
Yeah,
like,
really? I think I was 10 whenever. like 10 or 11 whenever I got
Oh my god, and that's so like, probably like...
Yeah, because it's like, well, for one, I was so young, and I was like, does something really have to go up inside of me, or like, do I wear a pad? Like, I just... But
avoid pads all around.
Like, literally, I know.
Pads are made by men because they're like, what are these things?
Like, sometimes, like, I don't get my period as often as I used to, but like sometimes I would just wear a pad like at night because it scares me to sleep with the tampon in. Because I'm like, oh shit, I didn't take this out. 6 hours, I got fucking like
folding and getting stuck to like all these parts of your underwear, and you're like, what the hell? Like,
do you remember whenever, speaking of tampons, do you remember when we went to the strip club and you asked that girl like what you do, what they do?
I did.
About
backstory. Alana and I went to the strip club with my husband and her boyfriend
on my 22nd birthday. I was not a fan.
And
23rd, maybe.
I had a good time.
I had fun, but it was random. Like, we didn't even do anything in there. Everyone's like, yeah, Spearmint Rhino. And I'm like...
we got like... Okay. Yeah, and then when I went to the bathroom, there was a couple girls in there who were working, and I was curious, like, can you work on the weeks you have your period? This is a full naked bar. Like, this is a full naked strip club. Like, they are stripping and...
Vaginas on the floor.
You see their uterus, essentially. So I asked, like, what do you do? And she's like, oh, we just tuck it up in there. And the one woman's like, my husband had to dig it out with his nails the one time because they got so far deep. That makes me gag.
I forget what I was just watching, but, like, she, like, I forget what the heck I was watching, but they cut the strings of her tampon and she put it in, and they were like, when you go to take it out, just make sure you squeeze really hard and it'll pop out. And I was
what were you watching?
I have no idea. It was not porn.
What the
It
hell?
was in fact not porn. It was definitely a show either on like Netflix or Hulu. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I mean, more power to you if you can do that.
No, that makes me nervous.
Me very nervous. Every time I get my period, I'm like, I left something up there.
like
I got drunk last Friday, and I was just like, I just keep shoving things in there, and like,
and then it's like, oh shit, like how many are in there now?
I have totally, like in college, probably like on drunken nights, I did put 2 in once, and when I went to the bathroom the next day, like both of them, like I took one out and then the other one was coming out too.
Shut the hell up.
To this day, I'm like scarred from that. So like I like am constantly trying to check. I'm constantly trying to look. Yeah, I don't. It happens on accident. Like it can get shoved up there and it can get an infection.
That literally makes me nervous.
That's why I use a Diva cup.
Yeah, I know.
Let's sponsored by Diva Cup. This is an ad for Diva Cup.
I've seen, there's a girl that I follow on Instagram and she uses
love Diva Cup. I do use Diva Cup.
But like sometimes I just feel
I can't use Diva Cup on the first 2 days of my period. It's pretty heavy. But after that I use a Diva Cup and it's the greatest thing ever.
Maybe I'll have to get a hip. I've been using organic tampons.
Yeah, those were pretty decent.
Like from Target or wherever.
You should try to get a Diva Cup, girl.
I was at Walmart Giant Eagle the other day, and I saw it, and I thought
order it off. I would order it off of online because there's different brands that you can try. Like Diva Cup is the brand.
It's the brand, yeah.
There's like a Kleenex, there's like Moon Star and Butterfly, and all of them have different. Well, all of them have different like elasticity. Like some are really really soft, some are really really.
So
hard.
My question is that like. I don't know. Is it like super messy? Like, what if you're in a bathroom stall and then it's just like
you just pour
messy?
It like
ew.
Come on, get with it.
I'll try.
Deal with it.
I'll
try. You dump it into the toilet, and ideally you want to go wash it off, but you can keep it in there for 12 hours and not worry about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what if it overflows? Like.
I mean, how you don't really don't you not have really heavy periods? I don't think you have to worry about that.
Okay, literally, my periods have been so irregular for
but they have like
life.
large. They have large, small ones,
gotcha.
The sizes.
So how do you like put it? Okay, you know what?
It's a whole thing. That's a whole podcast.
It's definitely a different podcast. But so this episode, like I told you guys before, I was only doing like 15-minute episodes, and I did upgrade my thing to 45. But with this specific podcast and probably a few that are to come, they're probably going to be into two parts. So this one is close to ending, so if you want to hear a little bit more, it probably won't be the whole 45 minutes, but if you want to hear some more sex talk with Jess and I, just tune into the second episode and talk to you guys soon.
Yay.